Hey, what's up? This video is basically going to be about TAPS or Transition Assistance Program, the 3-day workshop, as well as the 2-day workshop that is optional after those 3 days, which is basically the Department of Labor. The reason I'm making this video is because basically I'm out processing right now. I have a little over a month left, and when it comes to out processing, I'm always like searching online to try to find information to help me learn more things about what I'm going to be getting into or what I'm supposed to do, and I can never find anything. Specifically when it comes to TAPS, I was curious about what it was, and like I had almost no information on it besides, it helps you transition to a civilian, which I get that, but I wanted to know more. So I was at Seymour, well, I still am, at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. So I'm not sure if every other, TAP workshop is going to be different. But basically, you have to schedule with the Airman Family Readiness Center. You'll have like a counselor, and there'll be like a pre-separation brief. But before that brief, there's like an individual counselor meeting, which for me, in my case, it was scheduled for me. Now they say you're supposed to do TAPS about a year out, or like right under a year. What happened with me was I got an email a year out from my separation date saying, hey, we're gonna try to like get you into TAPS. I need this information. I need this signed and returned. So I did that. Didn't hear anything. 6 months later, 6 months from my separation date, same thing. I was like, hey man, I already sent this stuff 6 months ago. Didn't hear anything. So after that, still didn't hear anything. So I had to email him again. I'm like, hey man, I'm getting out pretty soon. Just wondering if we can schedule this. And then that's when it finally happened. So they may contact you, but it may not go anywhere. So make sure you follow up on that. So anyway, yeah, it's through the Airman and Family Readiness Center. So you do the individual counseling, you do the pre-separation brief. I think that's it. I can't remember. But after that, once you get TAP scheduled, you can do the 2-day optional workshop, which is usually the same week of, so like Thursday and Friday. But the mandatory part is only Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the first day, you may not get this exact thing, but you'll get a transition assistance program, a workbook, or like a study guide they call it. And basically that whole day you just go through this whole thing. I'll just read through some of the table of contents because I did this last week. But so as I said, it just goes over like your transition. So some of it says transition concerns, finding new purpose and identity, resiliency in transition, managing transition stress, military versus civilian culture, value of mentors, resources, statement of benefits, and a transition assistance program participant assessment. And that's only the first section. There's another section which is military occupational crosswalk codes, which basically transitions your current AFSC to civilian jobs. After that section, there's a financial planning for transition section, and I think that was the third section in this one. But I'm pretty sure that was the first day. So it's basically as simple as how you're gonna transition to a civilian. So like financially, how your jobs get a transfer, that sort of thing. And that's the first day. The second day is all about your VA benefits and services, which there's a lot in there. There's a lot of good information. There's stuff that I didn't know. The main thing I was interested about was education and how to use GI Bill and stuff. So that's all in there. But if you have questions, keep in mind there's only a day to go over the entire thing. So make sure you ask questions. You can always go on va.gov to get other questions answered. But yeah, it goes over education, finding a place to live, the VA home loan, VA healthcare afterwards, disability, and also like burial services, once you die and everything. So that's the second day. That's the VA benefits. The third day is basically a short version of the 2-day optional work week, 2-day optional course that you would take Thursday and Friday, and that is Employment Fundamentals of Career Transition, also Department of Labor. And as you can see, this one's pretty short compared to the one that you would get if you do the optional one, which is this one. So it doesn't look like it, but it's about half the size. So this is kind of just the Wednesday, the last day of the mandatory part. It's kind of a brief, overview of resume writing, networking, interviews, that sort of thing. Not so much interviews, but also finding out how much your salary would be, comparing how much money you make now in the current location, and comparing that with where you're going to go. They have like all sorts of websites that show, the cost of living in that location that you're going to be going to, and they have it like down to like bread, milk, how much electricity would cost. They have it pretty detailed, and you'll do what's called a gap analysis, which is assessing the salary and labor market for the civilian occupation. So you'll find your location, your salary, job outlook, financial analysis, that sort of thing. So that is the last day, and it's basically a shortened version of, the job side of things when it comes to being a civilian. And it's good information too, but I really recommend, at least if you're like me and you don't have a job lined up and you don't have much experience before the military, I really recommend taking that 2-day optional course after, which is Thursday and Friday usually. Now it is usually limited, but when I had my first meeting with my counselor, he basically asked if I wanted to do it, and I was like, yes, absolutely. And if anything, it's also 2 days out of work if you really care about that. But it's really good information too. That was the important part because like I said, it's an extension on this, and it's really good stuff, especially for those that don't have much of experience as a civilian. So this is the 2-day, the optional part, which I always thought TAPS was a 5 days, a week-long thing, but no. The mandatory part is the 3-day, so it's only 3 days mandatory, but the optional 2-day is, I would argue, just as important as the first 3 days. So like I said, it's a more in-depth version of Wednesday, so I'll just read off the sections. So section 1 is going to be, getting started. Section 2 is identifying your career goals. Then you have surveying the job market, identifying your skills, developing your personal brand, cover letters, that's part of section 5. Building your personal brand, activating your brand, exploring federal hiring, preparing for an interview stages, receiving a job offer, negotiating a job offer, communicating your decision, and then you have summing it up, and in the very back you have examples of resumes. And you do go over resumes quite a bit, and you'll write your own in class, at least if there's time. We, at the very least, kind of started it and made bullet points for our skills and our job positions and stuff like that. But it's really good information, and if you've only been in for 4 years and say you had a career beforehand as a civilian, in 4 years everything does change. Like, I didn't realize the job market changed that much, but apparently it does. There's a lot of things that change. And they also mentioned LinkedIn. That was a big one, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically like Facebook but on the professional side of things. So like your professional career account, I guess, if you want to call it that. And one thing I didn't know was that if you are a veteran, you get 1 year free of LinkedIn Premium, which basically just gives you more things you can do, which include taking classes. You can take LinkedIn Learning classes, which show up on your account, and I guess that's something that hiring people, whatever they're called, look at, just to, like when they look at your account, they'll see that, hey, you took this course on LinkedIn Learning, and it's not like actual credit, but it's like, hey, you took time out of your day to improve yourself, and that's just another thing to add to your brand, if you want to call it that. So yeah, you go over resumes, interviews, elevator speeches, how to find the right job, how hiring occurs, that sort of thing. And this whole week you're supposed to do like a business casual type of apparel. It really depends on your base and the people, how strict they are. I saw some people come with shorts and a t-shirt. You're not supposed to, but usually what I did is just a nice pair of pants and just like a collared shirt, nothing too fancy. But on the last day when you're practicing the interviews, I guess they recommend that you dress pretty nice, like, you know, like a long sleeve shirt with a tie and, you know, tucked in with pants and a nice belt, that sort of thing. But they'll explain it all to you on the, you know, when you actually get there, and hopefully your counselor will also, you know, do a good job explaining everything. But that's pretty much it. That's a condensed version of the week-long TAPS workshop, or TAP workshop. Really good information. Again, just to give you, you know, a good overview. This is like all the stuff you'll be getting in a 5-day period. There's a lot of information. You can refer to it fairly frequently because there's good information, but keep in mind that things do update quite a bit, especially in this day and age, especially when it comes to VA benefits. So you can always check va.gov to keep up on the current information regarding that stuff. So really good information. One last thing, once you're out as a veteran, you can always contact the Airman Family Readiness Center. I did not know that, but apparently they are still working for you essentially. So if you ever have any questions, they will be able to, if not answer your question, they'll find somebody who will. So I really recommend, if you have any questions on the outside, to contact them, and they should be able to help you, assuming they are going to do their job right, assuming they're not too busy. But yeah, that's a shortened version on TAPS. If you have any questions, you know, leave a comment. Please let me know. I'll, you know, help you out where I can. I feel like I said the gist of it, but if you have any questions on like a certain day in particular, I'd be happy to answer. But like I said, I did just go through it, so everything's still kind of fresh in my mind right now. But it's also a classroom setting, so you don't absorb all the information, especially when it's this much. So I may not have remembered all of it, but I could always look back in the book. So that's all I got. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.